Are you ready?
Yeah.
Okay. Tell me when you are ready because I will
Yes, I'm
start.
ready. Hello, world. Welcome to the journalist chat today, and we have a special guest from different part of the country. We have a guest from Japan, and this is a wonderful music, and this is a surprise for me. And we have a guest and Pia Demelia, and who is the East Asian correspondent from Sky. And we have a Tapan Mahamud Limon, assistant professor, journalism and media studies department, Bangladesh. Please welcome our guest tonight. Hello, Pia. How are
Hello.
you?
Hello.
Hi,
Nice
hi.
to meet you again.
Hello.
Yeah. So, Pio, and this is really completely surprise for me. And today this is a very special for me because both of you are my mentors. So, Pio, we know the situations and COVID-19 pandemics around the world which is going on, and everyone are scared about it. So, if I ask you, how are you, and what is your present condition? Because you are 65 years old.
Well, I guess I'm all right. I I can't really guarantee it because, as you know, Japan has decided not to test people unless they are about to die or they are already dead.
Mm.
So I guess I'm all right because I don't feel anything. But as you know, about 80% of infected people do not show any symptoms at all. So
Yeah.
maybe I've got it and I'm getting cured without doing anything,
Yeah.
or maybe I don't know. But one thing is that we are still undecided whether the Prime Minister of Japan, Shinzo Abe, is going to stay in history because he saved his country without much efforts,
Mm.
without lockdown, without imposing any kind of lockdown, or whether he will be held responsible for a major issue because some people say that we are just at the beginning here in Japan.
Yeah.
Some other
Yeah.
people say that no, that we will be all right. So next couple of weeks will tell whether he was right or whether he
Yeah.
was wrong. The problem is that if
Mm.
he was right, everybody is happy. But if
Yeah.
he was wrong, then a lot of people will die, and a lot of people will have a lot of problems.
Yeah, I mean the situations, like the going on around the world, because from the very beginning, nobody understands is what is going on. Even you are from Italy. Even the last two of my episode, I basically invited two Italians peoples, and they're also talking about the conditions of the Italy. What is going on? So, and beside of these things, if I ask you, the security of the journalist security, what is mean to you? Because we know that you have been covering for a long time in Japan, and you have wonderful work in Fukushima, and you a lot of times works even during the pandemic, during the disasters. So if I ask you, what is the journalist security, what is mean to you?
Okay, that's a very important question. Let me first state what I think about our profession in general.
Yeah.
I believe that there are several professions, including ours. The other could be missionaries, diplomats, lawyers, doctors, that have their limit, their border of responsibility and duty a little bit higher than others. In other words, a bank employee or an airplane pilot or a manager does not have the duty to risk a little bit more than others. In case of an emergency, he has perfect right to escape, to put himself and his family in a safe place, and to do the best to avoid any danger. We journalists and priests of any religions, lawyers, doctors, diplomats, uh, in these cases, we have to react the other way around. We have to take the lead and we have to take risks, because it's a give and take. We run most of the year. I have a very interesting life. I go to parties, I travel, I enjoy people, meetings, parties and whatever. But if something happens, then you have to, you have to take risks, because it's your duty, and also your profession. I mean, when you do our work, you cannot say, "Oh no, sorry, I'm tired," or "No, sorry, I'm scared." If you are scared of covering scary issues, then you better give up your profession. So this is basically my framework. In this particular case, I think that when you speak about Fukushima, you are very right, because it's a very, very, very similar situation. In both cases, it's not like war. It's not like a tsunami. It's not like an eruption. It's not like because you don't see the enemy.
Yeah.
You don't see radiations, and you don't see the virus.
Yeah.
So you do not engage a direct confrontation with the so-called enemy.
Yeah.
You just have to make day by day, hour by hour, minute after minute, a judgment of what you are supposed to do and until what extent. You see, you
Yeah.
don't see a military, you don't see a policeman, you don't see
Yeah.
a gun that is aiming at you.
Yes.
You have to say, okay, if I go there, what are my chances to survive?
Yeah.
Or what are my chances to get hurt, but not so much?
Yeah.
Okay. So this is very similar to Fukushima. The difference with Fukushima, which makes this situation a little bit even harder,
Yeah.
is that in Fukushima, we knew that from here to there, it was dangerous. So it
Yeah.
was the so-called 20 kilometers zone, red zone.
Yeah. Yeah.
But if you would stay outside of that,
Yeah.
your risk would be close to zero.
Yeah.
Now here, that is totally impossible. The enemy can be everywhere. Can be in
Yeah.
the drugstore, can be in the 24 hours shop, it can be in the train, can
Yeah.
be in a toilet, can be
Yeah.
anywhere. And there is absolutely no guarantee that you can protect yourself. Of course, you wear a mask, you may put on gloves, but still, it's so difficult to protect yourself 100%
Yeah.
from the virus.
Yeah.
That chances
Yeah.
that you get infected are very high. Now,
Yeah.
where is the responsibility? I think it lies in
Yeah.
the governments,
Yeah.
because if a government like the one in Japan, after months that the world has denounced this emergency, is still behaving like, in Japanese, we use a word, chutohampa, which means
Yeah.
yes and no, yes and no. I mean,
Yeah.
how can you protect 100 million people by letting trains and subways going
Yeah.
on like before? You can ask
Yeah.
people to stay outside until 8. This is a very silly thing. Two
Yeah.
weeks ago, Prime Minister Abe said, okay, all
Hmm.
public restaurants and bars can operate, but only until 8 o'clock in the night. And you can
Yes.
serve alcohol until 7 o'clock. Now,
Yeah.
this is silly. It's stupid. This is not COVID. This is koi idiots, because what does it mean that the virus sleeps until 8, and then after 8 o'clock, okay, now let's go and attack all the people that are around? I mean, the virus is working 24 hours a day, round the clock. So,
Yeah.
doesn't make any sense that you can stay out and drink and talk to people close to each other, and then 8 o'clock you go back, because like if you are a minor or a young student or whatever. This is stupid. It's completely stupid. Whether you close the country, you lock
Yeah.
down like we did in Italy, in other places,
Yeah,
or
yeah, yeah.
inshallah.
Yeah, I mean, this is a situation, and this is happening around the world. It's not only in Japan, and it's also happening because in Bangladesh there is a lockdown. The most of the times there's a lockdown, even only for the necessary things. People can go, people can visit, and people can buy something. But in the meantime, most of the time it's lockdown. But the question is that what we are discussing about, and we all know the responsibility and the role of journalists. But in the meantime, they're journalists, they're human beings too, and they don't know about the unknown virus. Suppose you investigate 4 years for the Fukushimas, and then you gain something, and definitely you have a family, and definitely there is a, suppose like USA newspaper have shared half of their newsroom employees since 2008. Even
Mm.
54 journalists in Mumbai, they are affected. So in this, even the financial context of a journalist, what is the security? And exactly, if I ask you why you are doing journalism, and what motivations you have doing the journalism?
Well, there are a lot of questions, and they are all very important. If I may answer with a very short sentence to the last question, why you decided to do journalism, I could answer because I love the idea of doing a job, being paid for it, a job that I would do for free. So
I mean, it's paid and free, and how?
exactly. Well, I would do this job even without being paid. Like, when we used to work together, you always
Yeah,
told me this thing that you don't do it for money. You do it because you
yeah,
like this. Of course, if
yeah,
you get your expenses paid, at least it's much better. But
yeah,
I did this. I did this work for many many years. Hardly paid and using my own money. So
yeah,
I
yeah.
think it is a matter of being curious and
Mm.
being interested in other people, other situation. I used to travel a lot. I like to know other people, other cultures. I think it's a duty of every human being
Mm.
to go beyond his own courtyard, his own apartment,
Mhm.
his own
Yeah,
country, and the best way to avoid wars and tensions is to know
mm,
each other. And we
yeah,
journalists are among those who should work to get people and countries closer by introducing them, by talking
yeah,
about, you know,
yeah, yeah,
uh, between Muslims and Christians, between West and East, poor and rich, North and South, leftist and rightist. I mean, we have to know each other, and if we know each other, it's much more difficult to kill
yeah,
somebody you know than somebody that you don't know.
yeah.
Okay.
I mean, this is a motivations, and sometimes when people ask to me, like, sometimes I feel this is my revolutions. This is my revolutions, like I'm doing a journalism and try to communicate and connect to the world, and also try to making a communication bridge in between the peoples, in between the world. Yeah, I saw the last times there's a lot of debate covering the pandemic, COVID-19 pandemic. But I saw the most of the time you just came out from the home, and then I saw you were in live. So you are not afraid to do that.
Which one?
Oh, I saw that you were just you were covering the COVID-19 pandemic in Japan and the last few days, and you were covering. So are you not afraid? Because there's a lot of people afraid to come out.
No, no, I'm not afraid. Because I do take that. That's the point with Fukushima too. You
Yeah,
have to set up. a working, sustainable balance between your duties
Mm.
and between your duties and your life. I'm not a kamikaze. I'm not a crazy or a looking for glory or for being a hero or whatever. No, no.
Mm.
Everything I do, I make my decision after carefully balancing what is the limit. Of
Yeah.
course, we are, as I said at the beginning, we journalists, like other professionals, have to be a little bit more on the razor's edge than others.
Yes.
We should
Yes.
take more risks.
Yeah.
But that doesn't mean that if I see a person who is coughing and spitting and going there, I just go there with empty hands and without protecting me and say, "Oh, poor guy, can I interview you?" No, I would never do that. Such a thing. For example, to make a very concrete examples, I do not take trains since I came back here. Since February, I do not take trains. I don't take subways. I don't go into crowd areas. I always use my little scooter or I take taxis sometimes, but I do protect myself. And when I'm
Yeah.
close with other people, I take social distance and everything. Of course, if I'm alone in a park,
Mm.
and I see other people there and I want to talk to them, I go a little bit closer and I try to talk to them because that's my job, talk to the people, ask. But I would never go, I would not overcross
Yeah.
the limits.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
also didn't do it when I was in Fukushima. When I was
Yeah.
covering Fukushima, I was always talking with my cousin. He's a doctor, a radiologist, and so on. I would always say, "Look, I'm planning to do this and this and this. What are the risks?" You know,
Yeah.
it's a little bit like you when you went to the Burma border that night.
Yeah.
I think you did
Yeah.
consider. I remember you were worried also. So I said,
Yeah.
"Shall I go? What shall I do if I go?" You have to make a plan and
Yeah.
stay on the razor's edge,
Yeah.
but don't fall down. Don't throw
Yeah.
yourself down. That's silly.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, this is the situations, like I saw like your film, the which you made on the Fukushima, and you all the time were in the marks, and there's a personal protections.
Yes.
Even right now, I saw like same personal protection journalists are right now doing. So you had an experience on that, and you have been covering for a long time, and you are responsible as a East Asian correspondent. So, if I ask you about the context of the East Asia, political situation of the East Asia, and you cover in the Rohingya crisis, and you interviewed Aung San Suu Kyi, and you interviewed a lot of renowned politician. If I ask you about the East Asian political context, what about your observations? Even during the COVID-19 pandemic, still the politics is going on. What about your opinion on that?
Well, it's a so broad issue. This time I really have. I usually have my opinions and I have no problems in stating them. But this is by far something that I don't think I am entitled to have an opinion. I mean, you know that in the recent days there is this issue going on between America and some European country against China, whether China was responsible, and if yes, at what extent was it a mistake? Was it deliberate? Is this all about the hegemony in the world? That is all something that, unless you are a scientist, a doctor, and a specialist doctor, I think journalists should keep out of this.
Yeah.
keep out, because of course you can have your opinion, but that is not something that you should report during a live or during an official report. You can talk while drinking, while eating together. Susa, what
Yeah.
do you think about this? But we
Yeah.
are not supposed to enter into things that we don't, unless you are an investigative reporter. You
Hmm.
take 2 months time, you say nobody where you are, and in those
Hmm.
2 months you try to enter the Wuhan
Hmm.
laboratory, you try to corrupt two doctors and get the more information you can. But that is specifically an assignment that probably somebody is right now, while we are talking, somebody is doing this. But this is not up to me or to you. We should just stick to
Yeah.
facts, talk to the
Yeah.
people, see what are the measures taken, see how they worked, denounce whatever we think it's stupid or
Yeah.
inefficient,
Yeah.
but do not enter into political speculation,
Hmm.
because that would distract people from the reality.
Yeah, I mean, because we don't know, nobody knows. Even it's an under the trial, and we don't know what exact
We don't know.
situations.
We
And
don't know.
you have been in it for a long time in Japan, and I know in different countries, a lot of things automatically change because of COVID-19 affected. What major change you have experienced in Japan recently?
Well, Japan is actually right now starting to feel the pressure. I think that the next couple of weeks will be fundamental, will be decisive to understand what is the impact of this situation. But there are already many things that we could draw attention on. For example, the social structure of Japan and the work structure of Japan is coming into scrutiny and will be probably changed forever. For example, everybody thinks that remote work from home, how do you call it? Telework? I mean, smart working,
Yeah, 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 yeah.
smart working. That Japan should be, in principle, one of the most suitable countries because of the technology, because of the, you know, the
Culture.
image, the image everybody has of Japan is a highly technologically developed country, whatever. Bullshit. That's not true. That's simple, not true. Uh,
Okay.
Less than 10% of Japanese companies have worked out a system by which you can work from home. For example,
Yeah.
to work from home, you need a laptop which is connected directly with your company.
Yes.
You need a VPN. You need the extranet structure, right? For
Yeah.
security. I mean, I'm not talking about the flower arrangement shop. I'm talking about a company with at least
Company.
10 or 15 people dealing even with trade. So all this is not absolutely common in Japan.
Yeah.
So this is a country that I already defined once, the empire of fax. This is the only country, developed country, where fax is still very common. I don't know in Bangladesh, I'm sure not. In Bangladesh, I think that there are many more email exchange uh,
Yeah.
than faxes.
Yeah,
Uh,
I mean, still people are using the fax, but more email is faster, and people are
I think
suitable.
I think it's much more developed, the digital way, the smart and so on. So
Yeah.
while the world is getting smarter, in Japan they are still a little bit stupid,
Okay.
technologically wise. I tell
Okay.
you, then there is another issue, the social issue, the urban issue. The Japanese houses are very, very small, and
Okay.
they are far from when you go to report to work.
Yeah.
So staying home is an experience that most of Japanese families have never tested. The Japanese family has a small house with probably one or two rooms at the maximum. So the husband role is to get out in the morning and come back the later the possible.
Yeah.
They are not used, and they are
Yeah.
not used to have kids around, because the kids in Japan are taken at 8 o'clock in the morning at school, and then they come back in late evening. So
Yeah.
the social revolution that is going first to
Hmm.
uh, to uh, uh, to destroy the family from the legal point of view, because there are already a lot of data about increase of divorces. You know,
Yeah.
simply they are not used to stay together 24 hours a day. But then they don't have a physical space where to do smart working.
Okay.
Even if they are allowed. So where do
Hmm.
they go? They go to the coffee shop,
Okay.
and they get infected,
Okay.
because
And
coffee shop,
it's still the coffee shop is open.
some of them, yes, Starbucks is still open, for example.
Oh.
McDonald's is closed, but several local chains are still open. And so it's very difficult, even technically, to understand. But the big responsibility is from the government, because if your prime minister shows up until a week ago, the first time he put on the mask was 1 week ago, but until 1 week ago, the prime minister would have press conferences physically with at least
Yeah.
50 journalists.
Hmm.
That is not the right signal to give.
Yeah, I mean, still here is a, like we started the digital press conference, and people are not going to the same room. They are not visiting the same room,
Yes,
not gathering the same room. So they are basically, I mean, covering and also asking the questions from the different districts and also different journalists. And I think this
yes,
is a kind of a easy process more than like gathering
no.
together, and it is risk free.
Yes, but that's what I was trying to say. That is amazing that a country like Japan did not start ahead of others. I mean, in Korea, since the very beginning of the crisis, nobody would ever think of having physical press conferences. And
Yeah,
everybody gets an app, a smart app for your smartphone, where there is a lot of issue about
yeah,
privacy.
yeah, yeah,
There
yeah.
are. But if the people is confident of their own government, and certainly Korean people, after many years of military dictatorship and corrupted governments, now are enjoying a good government, democratically elected, who's behaving in a right way. So there is this kind of, mutual confidence,
Yeah,
mutual trust. So
yeah.
if I ask you to give me your smartphone because I want to check where did you have dinner for the last 3 days, and you trust me, you will give it to me. But if
Okay.
you don't trust me, you won't.
Yeah.
So it's a matter, in China, they just seize the phones. They said, give me your phone.
Yeah.
Or, oh,
I mean,
they did not impose anything. They went on going to the homes. Listen, you are testing positive. In order to save yourself and your friends, could I please get your phone and access to the information? So on? In that cases, I think even a drug dealer would accept.
yeah, sure. I mean, this is a fact and how is work. Even I was the one of the reality I'm trying to share with you based on the China. Even last in the last of my episode, I'm trying to invite one of the student from China. But I mean, at the end of the time, so when my start is gonna start, and then in the meantime, he said I'm not able to join the show. I said why? He was like, oh, it's put me in the risks because I'll not able to go back in China because I will say something, or even I said, okay, no problem, you can speak whatever you feel and I'll not ask any questions. And he said, oh, even the headline is will put me in the risks. So this kind of situations, even the country like you are living, the country even my country, like where we are kind of try to communicate more and try to fluctuate and try to
Yeah.
do it in actual way. So in these circumstances, this is kind of, I mean, we are very wondering about that. So do you think, and I saw that I was starting with the report of on Japan, and I saw that there is not that much people at their testing. So because they're not testing that much, that why they don't still get the huge amount of case. So how do you think so, like later on, if this thing is going on, they will be more affected or they will get more case, and how they will handle it?
Well, this is something I repeat that we will soon find out in a couple of weeks. Japan has, from the very beginning, has acted very swiftly at the beginning, like Taiwan, and they kind of found out and how would you say, enclose the so-called clusters from the very beginning. There are a lot of Chinese that were coming from in January for holidays, the tourists, the Diamond Princess, the ship, and they sought to control this by checking very strongly the clusters. This was for two reasons. One was probably a scientific reason, because as I said at the beginning, there are two schools. One is test, 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 the more people the possible. And the
Yeah,
other one is the herd immunization. I mean, let's
yeah,
get the more exposure the possible. The strong people will survive. The weak people will die. You know, it's a little bit the Nazi approach, or, or the Darwin approach. Uh, that was decided under scientific guidance, probably, but also on a very, very economical and political reason. Japan was still trying to get the Olympics.
yeah,
Uh, and Japan is a country with a very difficult, almost a dramatic economical situation. Now,
okay,
let me explain a little bit, because this is not so much known probably. Japan had a, a negative growth of GNP since the last quarter of last year. The last quarter of 2019 was minus 6%.
yeah,
That started way before the virus emergency. So it's not like the Prime Minister Abe used to say that the economy of Japan has been destroyed by the virus. The
yeah,
economy of Japan has been destroyed by him.
mm,
So he's
yeah,
the worst virus around for Japan, right before. Because his politics, the Abenomics, simply did
yeah,
not work. He has
yeah,
been in power for 5 years, 6 years now, and his very much trumpeted abroad politics of Abenomics did
yeah,
not work because of several issues, several reasons that probably now it's too difficult to address. But so basically, he wanted to save the economy by
mm,
holding the Olympics.
okay,
Olympics would have
interesting,
given Japan the injection, much more than the Bank of Japan, of millions of tourists, millions of business. You know, it would have been the solution for Abe, and he would be on history for having resurrected Japanese economy, which
yeah,
is his declared objective. When he went to Buenos Aires to get the Olympics, he said, this will be the Olympics of restoration, of resurrection.
okay,
Okay? So he tried very hard until the beginning to hold on, but eventually he had to give up. And then they started to increase a little bit the testing. But still, there is a problem. In Japan, all those who are found positive to the test, they are hospitalized,
okay,
even if they have no symptoms or mild symptoms.
okay,
So whoever was found positive, they would have been hospitalized at a very high cost and high risk for the whole structure. That is
Okay.
the reason why Japanese hospitals are now the most dangerous place to be.
Okay. So, yeah, I
It's a
mean,
contradiction. So
yeah.
the more you host the positive, the more you have to protect the environment. And they did not. For days and days and days, hospitals of Japan did have positive patients and non-positive normal patients who got infected, and the doctors got infected, and the nurses
Yeah.
got infected. So now suddenly they are understood this, and they have moved since a few days ago. They started to move all normal patients into hotels, and
Okay.
now they are going to infect the hotels.
It's
Because
kind of it's,
who
it's
is
kind of a
cleaning,
nuclear chain.
who is cleaning the rooms, for example?
Yeah. Super. I
Normal
mean,
people or
yeah.
nurses? I mean, it doesn't make any sense. Now,
Yeah.
the hospitals have been emptied of normal patients
Yeah.
in order to wait for the coronavirus
Yeah.
patients. In the meantime, if you got sick tonight, if tonight I got appendix or a heart
Okay.
attack,
Okay.
I will probably die because no hospital will take me in.
Yeah.
Yesterday, an ambulance carrying a young guy who got a motorcycle accident. He was bleeding. They
Oh.
had to wait 6 hours and making 80 calls, 80 calls before the guy found an emergency room to get the surgery.
Oh, I mean, this is a kind of horrible situations. Even it's happening around the world, even every country.
Yes,
Even we thought that like we thought that this is only happening here, and because we don't have that much. I mean, medical facilities. We are not that much developed on the medical facilities, though government try to develop and try to handle it properly. But the country like Japan and those who had a different kind of experience of the disasters and who really recover, and this is kind of a horrible scenario.
yes.
So, guest, we have a Mr. Tapan Mahamud Limon, and
Oh,
so
yes.
basically,
I
yeah,
wonder
I'm
where is
sorry, my
yeah,
Wi-Fi was disconnected, so
yeah, no problems, and we are happy to get you because there's a technical problem, and as he talk
I
about
thought
like.
you are already gone.
Yeah, no, we are still in discussions. We are talking about how Japan are like dealing with the situations, and still they're I mean still they're communicating with their old methods, and we are a very smart methods, and we are in a smart way of communicating. So, Mr. Topan Mahamud, if you able to like if you can share about the context of Dhaka to the peoples, I think it will be amazing for the audience.
Yeah. Sorry, please. Again,
If,
please.
if, if, if you please share me the present context of Dhaka and how Dhaka is dealing with COVID-19, and I think it will be amazing for the audience. What are the present situations of the Dhaka and how Bangladesh dealing with the COVID-19?
it got freezed again.
Hello, hello.
Especially you can.
Hello, audience. There's a. Are you hearing me, sir? Are
Uh,
you hearing me?
No.
do you want my perspective?
Yes.
Media
Yeah. I'm in the general situations.
to hear me
No.
from the perspective.
Yeah,
I'm
he's.
hearing. I'm hearing you.
Yeah. Please, you can continue. You
Hearing
can
you.
continue. Yeah, there's a problem. So yeah, there's a problem with the network. So Pio, if I ask you like, how you're enjoying your home quarantine, because I saw like you did the party and through the Zoom, and I was
Yeah.
try to participate. Like you did the party,
Yeah.
distance
Yeah.
party,
We
and
are
how
going
you.
to do it. We do it every week.
Oh,
Uh,
that's great.
next Sunday we are going to do it again. I think that since we cannot enjoy friends and parties around outside, I think that it is a good idea to get together on Sundays or Saturdays and behave just normally, virtually instead of physically. Actually, I think it was a good occasion. 2 hour and a half, more than 80 people connected from all parts of world. There were people from Dharamsala in India, the Dalai Lama doctor, a
Wow,
couple of former minister of
great.
Serbia and in Poland, people in Malta, Japan, Italy. 80 people. Most of them my followers, but some of them totally new. And we introduced ourselves and we started to take up issues in a very informal way.
Mm.
And I think it's a good occasion to stay alive. As I said, networking. It could be a kind of networking at Corona times.
Yeah, I think during the time of lockdown, the love is on lockdown, the recreation is on lockdown, and the conversation is on lockdown. Sir, are you hearing me? I think you just back. Hello, sir. Hello, sir. Are you hearing me?
I think the Dhaka connection is not a good one.
Okay, so I think what we can like. So I think this is amazing, and we are trying to also connect to the world. And in the meantime, yeah, we are trying to back him again. So are you back? Hello, are you hearing me?
No.
Okay.
Okay. So
Okay,
I think,
so
I think
Theo, if you say something to my audience, and you are like a lot of people, they're really tense about, and people are psychologically isolated, because we know the reality, but in the meantime, we try to forget the communicate with the people. So if
how
you
is
say,
the situation in Bangladesh? Is
okay,
it under control? How many infected people and dead people you have?
okay, so basically, from the very beginning, it was not that much, but right now, and more than 100 people die on the COVID-19, and like every day, 10 people, 9 people, 5 people dying,
Are you
and
locked down or not?
yes, we are in a lockdown like already half month. I mean, in the serious lockdown situations. So government are try to handling the situations, and there's a our economy is depend on the RMG. So 85% economy are depend on the RMG. So in the meantime, because the most of the people those who are working in the governments, and in the situation is we had to stop the work because we know it's affected by the people those who are affected, and from the very beginning people those who are come from the different country like Italy, also the other country. So the people those who are like came from different countries, so the government try to government try to identify them and try to isolate them, and still the situation is still, you can say, this is under control, but the same thing is also is going on, not that much testing, because the mortality rate is so high here, and still this is started, and government try to communicate, the government try to handle it, but nobody knows what will be the situations, because the journalists also affected here, and in these circumstances we a lot of things is depend on, because we have to be export or import, and in the meantime, because the lot of country already cancel their flight, and the one of the PO, I want to share you one thing. So I think this is very important, because when I'm talking about Bangladesh, so basically the 85% of the RMG, because depend on economy, depend on the RMG, and in the meantime most of the country, development country, they cancel our order, and they already produced the cloth and about their whatever their requirement, but when it is happening and suddenly they cancel their order. So this is a kind of in dilemma is going on, because if they will not pay, or they will not take the cloth which is already produced, so the situations will be very bad, and we are hoping that it will be okay soon, but still there is a risk because more people are infected. Even I'm living in a Cox's Bazar, one of the largest refugee camp around the world, and this is located in Cox's Bazar. So here is the four case confirmed yet, and in the meantime try to test at more people, but still we are in a, if I can say, still we are in a dangerous situations, and government try to handle it, and government try to just make it longer so that all the people will stay inside the home. But I mean, people also try to avoid the people, but still the chance is going on because people are dying. So, and in the meantime it is not so much easy also here, like to identify, because people, those who infected, some people are scattered. And the main fact is the public health system, the medical system is gonna change, because people are not going to the hospital, as like as Japan, as like as also the other country when I discuss, people are afraid to go to the hospitals, and they're the problem is when people hiding their informations, hiding their case.
Yeah.
And around the world there's a shortage of personal protection and also the other things, but still inside, I mean, the Bangladesh government and also the because we are very good in RNG, so try to make the personal protection, and also try to deal with that. And still the situation is okay according to the government statement and according to the different media statement. But the problem is that the one of the newspaper, they already, I mean, they're on the way to shut down. So, and there's a lot of things. The journalists are very tense because they feel they will lose their job. And so this is the situation. Are you back, sir?
Okay, sorry, but Suza, I think
Yeah, I think if you say something to the
Yeah.
audience, Pio.
Are you hearing me?
to the
Yeah, yeah,
audience.
yeah,
Well,
to the audience, to my audience. Yeah.
the
Okay.
audience,
Last time.
I don't know what is really the kind of your audience who is listening to us, but I would wish everybody to share universalism and globalism the right way,
Hmm.
not
Yeah.
the commercial, financial, but the spiritual and the human side of globalism, which
Yeah.
means let's get to know each other, let's listening to each other, and let's discuss even strongly, even in a hard way, but never resort to violence or to wars or whatever. And let's hope that from this global pandemics, some good lesson could be drawn, and that people would think and start to consider that if we can do such a thing, to get connected from thousands of kilometers, so
Yeah.
why can't we do it more globally in other
Yeah.
fields? Why
Yeah.
can't you just solve issues? One good thing of all these is that
Hmm.
probably our big leaders, like
Hmm.
the G7,
Hmm.
this is something that I suggested many years ago.
Hmm.
Why don't they meet even once a month? Why not every 3 months? But
Hmm.
virtually, by Zoom, by StreamYard. Why do
Yeah.
they have to spend all this money, make all this security fuss, have us journalists to pay thousands of dollars for hotel and stuff like that? Just make a conference like this.
Hmm.
People while eating, they will follow them, and some people will
Yeah. I
be
mean, they can do the discussions from distance. So, Pio, I'll take 1 minute if you allow me. So, sir, we are in the last minute. If you say something to the audience, like any kind of message, if you wanna give to the audience.
Uh, what can I say without sorry? I am really
No,
extremely
if you,
sorry for the
yeah, no,
network
no problem.
connection was
If you give a short
disconnected,
message
and
to the
I
people,
didn't
to the audience, yeah, please.
uh, were with us. I think missed me, and I also missed them. And so I think you will offer me the next time, and we'll talk something obviously interesting topics we'll choose and we'll talk with you in the next time. And I am really sorry for today.
It's okay. So the audience, so you want to
Thank
we
you.
are yeah. So we are already on the end. So I would like to say something to the audience. Today we have a wonderful guest, and you heard that because during the time of the lockdown, the conversation and the recreation is on lockdown, and I hope so. When the situations will be okay, Pure Demeli will be able to come back here in Bangladesh, and we will join together. And Tapan Mahamud sir, definitely I'll try to meet with you, and I hope you will enjoy the show later on, and I'll bring you later on. And I think the audience, all we should stay together, we should fight together, and we should work together. Bye bye for tonight, and please don't miss the next show. I'll be your host tomorrow, the next show. Thank you.
Bye bye.
Bye bye.
Ciao.
If you play
Bye.
music, Pio, if you can play music.
My music again?
Yes, yes.
Okay.
Yeah, this is a kind of the surprising end. Okay.